All right, today we are going to flip the script on leadership. Forget the old business school textbooks for a second. We're going to look at management through the incredible lens of neuroscience. So let's dive right in and explore a much more brain-friendly way to lead our teams.
So let me start by asking you a pretty big question. Is your management style, or, the one you have to deal with every day, is it actually fighting against the way the human brain is wired? It's a wild thought, right? But it turns out a lot of what we think of as standard practice in management might be doing just that, working against our nature instead of with it.
And this brings us to the root of the problem. It often begins with the mental models we use to think about managing people. Now, these models are supposed to be helpful shortcuts, but they can very quickly turn into cognitive traps. And here's a perfect example of a simple but really powerful error we all make. We love using metaphors, right? We call a team a well-oiled machine. And that sounds great. But if you take that metaphor too far, you start treating people like they're just interchangeable parts. We totally forget that they're complex, creative individuals, and suddenly our leadership becomes kind of dehumanizing and, frankly, not very effective. Okay, so that leads us to another huge issue, what we can call the feedback fallacy. We are about to challenge one of the most sacred ideas in all of modern management. We're told over and over that more feedback is always better, but what if that whole idea is just wrong? I mean, we've all heard this a million times. We've all been taught it. The idea that to get the absolute best out of people, you need to be constantly pointing out their flaws and where they need to improve. It's the foundation of the annual performance review, the weekly check-in. It's just what good managers are supposed to do. And this just nails the core problem. We've accepted this idea as gospel without ever really questioning it. But here's the thing. Neuroscience research actually suggests that when we focus relentlessly on someone's mistakes, it triggers a threat response in their brain. It actually inhibits learning and totally shuts down creativity. So this common wisdom, it isn't wisdom at all. It's what we call the feedback fallacy.
So if focusing on what's going wrong is actually counterproductive, what's the alternative? What are we supposed to do? Well, the solution is a really powerful shift in how we see things, and it's called minding behavior. It's all about turning our attention in a completely different direction.
So what is minding behavior? Basically, it's the deliberate, active practice of noticing what goes right. And look, this isn't just about giving a quick, hey, good job. It's about paying close, careful attention to those moments of excellence, trying to understand what created them, and then reinforcing that specific behavior. You're basically searching for the blueprint of success, not just looking for the evidence of failure. And this lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the feedback fallacy, where a manager's attention is always on the red X, the mistake, the problem, the gap. But on the other side, you have minding behavior. And here, the focus completely shifts to the green check mark, that moment of insight, that awesome collaborative win, that job that was just done incredibly well. This shift doesn't just feel better, it literally strengthens the neural pathways for success in the brain. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so let's pull all these ideas together. How do we combine all this into a practical philosophy you can actually use? This is what we're calling managing the neuro way, a style that actually works for an employee's brain, not against it.
And it really boils down to 4 core principles. First, always remember that your management models are just metaphors. They are not instruction manuals. Second, you have to consciously avoid the feedback fallacy. Resist that urge to constantly correct. Third, and this is the big one, become an expert at spotting what works by actively practicing minding behavior. And finally, focus on people's strengths. That is what truly builds trust, fosters growth, and drives incredible performance. You know, when you get right down to it, it all comes down to one simple but really powerful truth. Effective management partners with human nature. It doesn't try to fight it. It works with the grain of how our brains are actually wired to learn, to grow, and to excel. And that leaves us with one final question I want you to think about. Don't worry about overhauling everything at once. Just think about this. What is the one upside-down principle? Maybe it's ignoring a metaphor or skipping a critique to instead notice a success. What's one thing you could try tomorrow? Because that one small shift, it could make all the difference.